We just want to save some money. Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, the big winnings on any property sale are not the tiny little expenses that you save, cutting the legs off my commission. The big winnings is on the extra $50,000 to $100,000 that I'm going to get for your property. We don't want to pay upfront for marketing. We think you should do that. Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, I totally understand. However, it's not about whether or not I can sell the property. It's about whether or not you're going to accept an offer. You're just putting it on realestate.com. Why do we need you? Oh, very insulting. Agents, welcome to the Get Keen podcast, your number one destination for learning how to get the most out of your real estate career. I'm Dan Lee, founder of Plum Property, one of Queensland's largest independent real estate offices, and Plum Partners, where we've helped dozens of agents create, run, and grow their very own agencies. On Get Keen, I chat to high-performing agents, principals, and agency owners, so you have the tools, strategies, and insights to grow your business and live the best life for yourself and your family. Now let's get keen. All right, we're keen to learn. Today, it's an episode with yours truly, and I'm doing something a little bit different. Usually I get questions from the crowd, off my socials, Instagram, Facey, all the greats. Chuck out a story. What's an objection you'd like me to handle? But today, instead, I use ChatGPT. So if you're watching on YouTube, I literally just typed into ChatGPT, what are the most common objections that agents face in today's real estate world? And it's spat out about 25 of them for me, and they're all in different sort of categories, from common, unique, advanced, commission, buyer scenarios, cold prospecting scenarios. So I'm going to try and get through all of them in 30 minutes. This is completely unscripted. I've just got the questions, and I will just answer off the top of the dome how I might answer each of these questions as we go. I may be a bit rusty, it's been a while since I sold houses, but I've still got a lot of it. So here we go. Starting at question number 1, common objections in real estate. That's what you're here to discover today. Right, number 1. A seller saying, we want to wait until the market improves. Okay, so they don't want to put their property on the market yet. You're in a listing presentation, they're saying, we want to wait till it improves. Well, with a question like that, you've really got to work around their timeline. And I would really frame it by asking another question. And I would say, okay, well, where would you like to be in 6 months' time? Would you prefer to be here, or would you prefer to be at your next destination? And if they say, oh, well, I'd prefer to be in our next destination, however, we'd like to get a higher price. And then I would talk about, well, what will they be doing in their next destination? Because if they're going to a new destination and they're buying in the same market, then if you're buying and selling in the same market, then you're really just swapping value for value right now. And I would importantly highlight that, because a lot of people think, oh, if I wait for the future, I'll get a better price, but then I go and move and buy my new house, and that's gone up 10% as well. So what's the point? So focusing on their destination, where they're going to, and helping them to understand that they're really going to end up with the same amount of money, because when the market goes up, it goes up everywhere. So I would focus on that. Number 2, we've sold before and didn't have to pay that much. Okay, so they're talking about my commission and my advertising. So I would talk about when they always ask a question back. So, okay, you sold before. And when was it that you sold? Because it was probably, some time ago. And say, okay, that's very interesting. And what did you pay? They'll tell me that. Okay, nice, awesome. Well, listen, at various times in my career, my commission has also been a different price. If you came and saw me 2 years ago, when the market was really, really buoyant, and it was very easy to sell a property, and I was only a newer agent with not the statistics and the data that I can prove today, that I could get a much, much higher price than any other agent, I also would have probably had a lower fee for my skill set at that time. But where I am now, when you hire me, you're really hiring the absolute best in the business. I can prove that with my market share, my time on market, the prices I am achieving, which I've shown you today, are significantly higher than my nearest competitors. I understand that you would like to end up with as much money in your pocket at the end of this transaction, but you getting the most money is not going to be from shaving off $1,000 or $2,000 off my hard work and dedication to the sale of your property. It is going to be from me persisting so hard and doing everything necessary in my skill and my experience to get multiple people wanting to buy your house, which is going to push your price up to its absolute maximum market value. Something along those lines. Number 3, we just want to test the market first. Okay, so this is an owner who you're talking to and they want to maybe just, people say that when they want to put a high price on it, right? You're talking to someone, we want to test the market with a high price. Okay, I would talk about how that's going to end up affecting their sale result in the end, and they're going to end up getting a worse result. So I might phrase it in some way like this. I understand you just want to test the market to see if your price is out there, but let me just tell you one thing. If you put your property on the market for all the buyers to see and it doesn't sell, the buyers and the marketplace will remember. So much of the community, so much of the buyer activity will have eyes on your property, even if you're just testing it. And if you don't achieve that price within sort of a minimum time frame of what the market perceives is like how long a property should sell, they will always think that there was something wrong with your house. And once a property's been on the market for too long, it doesn't matter if it just comes back on the market in a week or 2 weeks or 2 months. You might have to wait 2 years to even try again, because people will remember, and there will be records of your property being on the market for so long. And if buyers find out this stuff, they just instantly have a negative impression of your property because it didn't sell. So I would be very wary and very cautious about testing the market. I always believe when you sell your house, you've got one shot to do the very best in order to achieve maximum market result. And I think if we go to market, that we shouldn't test it. We should go all out. We should spend a little bit of money on marketing. We should show every single buyer through the property. We should gain maximum activity and produce huge competition so that we can get this place sold for maximum result. And I'm sure at the end of that, you'd be much happier than just testing the market, not spending advertising, not doing everything properly, and probably not getting the result that you want. All right, number 4, we want to try and sell it ourselves. Yeah, you get that a few times. And I would go back to, again, about how much more money. It's all about money, right? So I'd go back to how much money they will get using myself as an agent instead of doing it themselves. And I would say, sure, absolutely, you can definitely sell it yourself. And every now and again, I see someone that tries to sell a property themselves, and it's usually a complete flop. And here's why. Unfortunately, if you try and sell it as the owner, most of the buyers will know that you are the owner of the property, okay? Especially when they come to sign the contract and your name's on the contract. So here's the thing. If people know that it's the owner selling the property, then they're never going to tell you the truth. Okay. And in real estate sales, it's very important to get the truth from buyers. Otherwise, you can be completely misled and tricked into thinking things that aren't true. And you don't want that during your sales process, because if you're not getting the truth from buyers, then you're unlikely going to be able to, get them over the line. You're not going to be able to connect with them properly. So the reason it's important to have an agent involved is because if there's a third party that the buyers can talk to, they will actually tell the truth. If they know you're the owner, they're just going to lie to you at the open home. They're going to say everything that you want to hear. You're going to go away from that feeling really good and chuffed, and then you're going to find out that a lot of these buyers don't even let you call them back. They're not going to tell you what they really think about the property, and therefore you're going to have inadequate evidence from the market about what the value of your home is worth. It's going to be confusing, frustrating, and you're not going to be able to get the results from those buyers as you want. The second thing that's very important to know is that as an owner, and I do it too, and every person is guilty of this when they own their own home, is we as human beings are very attached to our home. We don't like hearing negative things about it, and we're very emotional about it. And so it's very important to have a third party to take a lot of that emotional away so that buyers feel at ease and they can really get into great conversations about the property and explore it further. With you as the owner, they're going to be uncomfortable about having any conversation around the house that they might feel otherwise comfortable having with an agent. And that is so important for extracting the best offer out of them and actually getting them to a point where they want to make an offer. So with me, you will get more offers, you will get correct information, and I will be able to educate the buyers in a different way as an owner would in order to get a better price from them. Next one, we've already had a few agents through. What makes you different? Yeah, great question. And look, I think every agent should have an answer to this particular question. I would just focus on 3 things that are your main benefits, okay? If you're not the market leader in your area, you can't say, well, if you go with me, I'm the market leader. But if you are, then that would be a really good one to start with. So pick 3 things that are your advantage, right? And just put them in a sentence, and that should be your answer every time. For me, I would say it's energy at the end of my career, it's market share and profile, and it's the prices that I'm achieving. So I would say something like this: Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, with me, you're going to get unbelievable energy. When you hear from me, I'm excited, I'm upbeat, like I am now, and I'm like that with every single buyer that I talk to and that I bring through your property. Energy sells, and you're going to get a better price with my energy. The second thing would be the fact that we sell more properties than any other agent in this area. And the reason we sell more is not just because we're fantastic, but it's because of the results that I get. And the results that I get mean that the sellers out there in the marketplace that are looking to sell, they contact us because they see that we're getting the best results. So other sellers are calling us because we're getting the best results. So take it from them. It's almost like a blind testimonial that I'm the one in the marketplace who's achieving the best. It's the market speaking when I'm getting the most properties for sale. And thirdly, it's the price that I'm going to achieve you. Combining my energy, combining my experience, I have the ability, and it's my goal to get as much competition on your property as I can. I'm always looking for more than one buyer because I know with multiple buyers, I'm going to be able to push your price up, and that's what I'm going to do for your property. Next question. I'm not sure your agency has buyers in our area. Okay, so I'm talking to a vendor with a property outside my core area. I would say that I understand that there's agents in your area that sell more properties than us. But the thing is, we all share this one big magical buyer database called realestate.com. And it doesn't matter whether you list with that agent in your area who sells more than me, or you list with me who's slightly outside your area. We're both going to list your property on those portals, Domain and realestate.com and many others, and all the buyers in the marketplace are going to see your property on that website. You may even add in an extra question: have you been looking for property lately? Or when you looked for property, did you know the suburb and the basic price range you were looking in? Yes, we did. And did you make a search and go and look at some of those properties? Well, the same thing is going to happen with the buyers when I list your property. In fact, most of the properties we sell, and you can see I sell 100 homes a year. I know most of them are in another core area, but the majority of the time, I'm talking 99% of the time, the buyer that we get for every property comes from the advertising that we do in various places like those websites. So you're still going to get the same experience whether or not you go with that agent or myself, with your ad being there exposed to all of those buyers. All right, commission. There's 2 commission questions here. We just want to save some money. So again, it's all about money. So you just need to direct their attention towards them getting more money using you at the end of the transaction. So the objection would always start by, I understand that you want to get more money in your pocket at the end of the transaction. Okay, and by shaving off a little bit of my commission, you feel like you're earning more. But the truth is, that the big winnings on any property sale are not the tiny little expenses that you save on advertising and maybe cutting, the legs off my commission that I'm going to work extremely hard to achieve maximum value for you. But the real winning point and where you maximize your result is on the extra $50,000 to $100,000 that I'm going to get for your property by doing absolutely everything in my power to get more buyers through, generate more competition for you, get more offers on the table so that we can not only get the most appropriate buyer, but push their price as high as we possibly can. So that's why I stand by my commission rate. I totally think I'm worth it. I totally understand if you're just looking for the cheapest commission and possibly a less experienced agent, then perhaps I'm not the right agent for you, but I would be very disappointed if I can't have this opportunity to work with you. Next one, we don't want to pay upfront for marketing. We think you should do that. Okay, that might be on a case-by-case basis. Obviously, you want to avoid this situation as much as possible because if you're paying the marketing upfront and the property doesn't sell, then, you're up shit creek. You're copping the bill for that marketing plan, which these days with realestate.com, signboards, photos, possibly video, that can be, anywhere from $3,000, maybe up to $7,000 in some areas of Australia. So, it's big money to be putting down. So you don't want that to happen as well, because if they don't have skin in the game, then they're less likely to say yes to an offer because they're not losing anything. So you want that skin in the game. But look, if you didn't want to do it, which you shouldn't do it very often, then I would say, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, I totally understand that you'd rather I paid for that marketing up front. However, in this industry, it's a massive risk for an agent just to do that all of the time, because the thing is, it's not about whether or not I can sell the property. It's about whether or not you're going to accept an offer. So if I outlay all this money and we do the advertising, I do the open homes, I go out there, I collect all of these offers, I push the maximum price up to what I've told you today is sort of market value or beyond, and then you decide that, well, I don't want to sell the property anymore, I've changed my mind, then it's not that the property didn't sell, it's that you decided not to take the offer that I bought you. So therefore, it doesn't really work for us to be doing that. If you pay the marketing up front, again, if you don't want to sell the property, I'm still spending my time, my energy. I'll do everything I can. And if you decide not to sell the property at the end of the day, look, that's part of the game. I totally accept that. And we'll walk away from this transaction totally happy, and I'll be happy I had the opportunity, but you didn't choose to accept the offer. I promise you, if we do this, I'm going to get you offers and I'm going to get you market value or more for this property. So it's your decision where you want to sell it from there. And unfortunately, I have to ask that marketing is paid up front. The next one is, you're just putting it on realestate.com. Why do we need you? Oh, very insulting. Okay, so obviously there's a lot more elements to being a real estate agent, and we need to obviously explain to them what our procedure is, what our goal is to achieve the maximum price. And I would say, yes, that's true. It is going on realestate.com. It's also going to go on multiple other portals. It's going to go to our database. We're going to call hundreds of buyers that we've recently met at other properties. There's going to be text messages going out to the entire marketplace. There's going to be social media videos done about it. So there's going to be a range of marketing that we're going to do to get you exposure and get those buyers in. But there's more to the process than that. That's just the advertising part. Now we have to gather all of that interest. We have to get them all to compete together, whether it's privately or at auction, but we need to build the competition. We need to create a sense of urgency amongst the buyers, make it feel like they're going to miss out, which they possibly will if they don't hurry, they don't get their offer in and they don't offer as much as possible. And through that process, I'm going to find you the most qualified buyer that works best for your time, for your situation, that's also able to pay the maximum market value. And I'm going to do everything in my power with that competition to push their price up to a maximum level. So there's a much bigger part of the process we're missing here when we're just talking about realestate.com. I appreciate that we do go there, but there's so much more to it. And that's why you need me in your corner when selling your home. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the content. Just quickly, if you're interested in knowing what it might look like for you to own your own real estate business and brand, then that's what me and my team do. We help agents to create, run, and grow their own agency and brand so they can earn higher commissions and set up a better life for themselves. If you're interested in what that might look like, just click the link in the show notes and book a call with me or one of my team members, and we'll find out whether or not this is a good fit for you. Now let's get back to the episode. Okay, so we've got some buyer scenarios now. So the first one is the price seems too high. I would say to this buyer, well, thank you for your feedback. I'm certainly going to take that back to the owner. And listen, just because you feel like the price is too high, it doesn't mean that you can't put forward what you think is an appropriate offer. And I would be more than happy to take your offer to the owner and get you at least an answer to that. That way you can know whether or not this is going to be worth pursuing any further. Could I possibly take your offer to the owner? And then from there, we're obviously going to try and get an offer. So the next one, we saw a similar property listed in the area for less. Would you sell for that price? It's kind of the second part of that question is rarely asked, but a similar property in the area for less, I would say, look, every property is very subjective in price. What one person thinks a property is worth may be different to others. So someone looking at this other property you say is cheaper for what it has, someone else might think that this house is better and better value. But disregard all of that. You are totally welcome, if you like this house and what it offers, you're totally welcome to offer any price that you perceive is fair market value. And I, as the agent, am obliged to take all offers to the owner, and I'm more than happy to get you a response to any offer. So would you like to put an offer forward to the owner? The next objection for buyers is, we've been told to wait until interest rates drop. Okay, if someone said something like that, I said, well, obviously the only reason to wait would be to hope that you get it for cheaper later, right? And by you saying interest rates drop, locking in a lower interest rate, you may save a couple of $100 a month per, 25 basis points. Now, yeah, there's a saving there, but here's the thing. When interest rates drop, and people are able to afford more money, the banks are giving more money, people are able to borrow more, that generally heats up the market. All of a sudden, there's more buyers on the market who have purchasing power. So when interest rates drop, more buyers come in the market. What happens when more buyers come into the market? You're in a situation where you're now looking at the same home, and instead of there being 10 buyers looking, there's 20. What happens when, in that scenario, you end up in more competition when you're trying to buy the property? And let me tell you, if you've ever been in a situation where you're trying to buy a property and there's multiple buyers at the same time, you always end up paying more. You have to put down something better than everyone else. Why would you want to wait to a point where that's more likely to happen when you can buy the property cheaper right now with less competition? Okay, we're going to finish off with some cold prospecting scenarios. So this is cold calling, reaching out to people in your area on the phone for appraisals or just general chit chat, information, updates. So someone says to you, I'm not selling right now. I totally understand that you're not selling right now, and that is not the purpose for my phone call. As I said earlier, right now, I'm just updating all owners on your street because of the recent result we got over the road. I just wanted to update you about that. And in the process, what we do actually once a year, because we're the area experts of your street here in this suburb, once a year we update all owners on the value of their house. It's just a free service we provide, and you get an automatic update once a year. It's pretty cool. And that way you can just keep track of how your asset's going, what your home value is worth. And one day, If you ever feel like contacting me because you're interested in the property market somehow, then by all means, I'll leave that up to you to contact me. But in the meantime, can I send you this update and just put you on the, regular health check yearly? The next one, I've already got an agent. I'd pry a little deeper. Oh, okay. Have you sold a property with a certain agent? Have you bought the property? What makes this agent your agent? If they've just said, we're just talking to one and they've been over for an appraisal before, awesome, that's great. And I encourage you to talk to multiple agents. It's good to get different opinions. Whilst I'm here, it might be interesting just to get my opinion too, because I do sell a large portion of the property in this area and I sell a lot of properties very similar to yours. So whilst you're already talking to an agent, what it might be good to do is when it's time for a decision to ever do something, or even right now, if you would like me to update you on your property, you can actually compare the results, the price, the commission rates, and whatever it is between those agents. And look, if you end up using that other agent because you're more comfortable with them, that's totally cool. I just appreciate the opportunity to give you some information to compare. Is that okay with you? Okay, next one is you're the 5th agent to call me this week. So someone's getting angry over the phone. And I would say, I'm the 5th agent? Well, let me tell you, you saved the best for last. And there's a reason why you didn't want to talk to those other 4, because they just weren't as interesting and high energy as me. And you know what? You know something? I don't think those agents were very interesting to talk to. So look, that's very off the cuff, but what I'm trying to do here is I'm just trying to switch the conversation, talk a little bit of, just talk a little bit of banter and see if I can get this person turned around. Quite often, if you just take a light-hearted, fun approach and then also give the person a compliment, maybe you didn't like speaking to those agents because they weren't as interested in what a legend you are. And make some sort of comment like that, which might make them go, ha, 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 and get a little giggle. If you can get a giggle out of someone, I'm telling you, you're going to get them on the phone for 5 more minutes. All right. So next one is, if I sell, I'll call you. Yeah, no worries. I really appreciate that. If you do that, I don't know what to say. That's really kind of you. I don't expect that call ever, by the way. If you want to sell with someone else, you don't have to promise me your listing. But whilst I've got you, I know you're not selling right now. I'm not interested if you're selling. I know that you'll call me one day if you're interested in selling. But that's not the reason for my call. I don't want to just be in touch with you just when I want something when you're selling. I want to be in touch with you to inform you how the market's going, keep you regularly updated so that one day when you want to do something, you'll make a really good decision because you've been following the market this whole time, getting up-to-date information all the time that you're interested in. So I just want to do that. Would you allow me to just keep in touch and give you this quick update? Okay. I'm too busy right now. I totally understand you're too busy. I am too, sir or ma'am. Look, can I get you just for 5 minutes next week? I'm actually in your street on Thursday, Friday. I'll just knock on the door. It's just a quick update. I'm doing it for everyone. I'm just obviously they want to get off the phone quickly, so I'm gonna go straight in for the kill, for the close. If they say, look, no, I'm just too busy, I say, I understand. Look, I would love to send you some information at least by email and maybe give you a call in 3 to 4 weeks when you're maybe not as busy and just see if you wanted an update at that point. Would that be okay? Just some sort of agreement that I can stay in touch somehow. You may not get it, but always try again. And the last question, and probably the most difficult one to handle when you're cold calling is when people just say, I'm just not interested. Okay, so you said, would you like an updated appraisal? Would you like some information on what's going on in your market? I'm like, no, I'm not interested. What I do in that situation is I always ask them a question back. I would say, are you not interested in knowing what your home is worth? And even if they said, no, not really, I would say, how come? And they'd say, because I already know what it's worth. So I would dig a little deeper and go, oh, you already know what it's worth. Have you had an appraisal on it recently? And so if you just keep asking questions, they'll talk more and eventually you can find a reason and how to get in there. So if someone says, I'm not interested, just come back with it. Oh, why aren't you interested? Or even better, or do you already know what your home is worth? And they'll say, yeah, I do. Oh, how do you know? So I'm just getting them back into conversation, and then I'm going to try and find an edge in there. All right. Guys, thank you so much. Those are ChatGPT's most common objections in real estate. I hope you got some value out of there. I hope I've still got it. I haven't heard heaps of these objections for years because I'm not actively selling houses right now. I'm doing this great content for you. Thanks for coming. Give me a like, a share, a comment. I really appreciate it. Share it with a friend, a real estate agent friend who could use these scripts and dialogues. Who's someone you know that needs to know these scripts and dialogues on the phone? Send it to them. Love your work. Love you for being here. I'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for tuning into the Get Keen podcast. If today's episode got you thinking about starting your own real estate business and building your own brand, Plum Partners may be able to help. Book a call using the link in the show notes, and let's see if we're the right fit to help you create, run, and grow your own real estate brand. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and follow me on Instagram at Dan_Lee_Plum. Until next time, keep getting keen.